get this little thing to move. Now with our signature name affidavit documents, the name variations come from the borrower's credit file. All names, including those that are misspelled, are imported from the credit report to the loan application process. So anything that shows up in that credit file is going to be shown on that application, and then it's also going to be shown on separate documents, and it's a separate type document that we're going to look at tonight. Y'all ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. It's going to be quick, huh? What'd you say? Somebody said something. They weren't talking to me. All right. First of all, let's talk about how important it is that we read our instructions. Remember, in this line of business, reading is fundamental. We've got to be able to read, or we've got to be willing, because I know we're able, but we've got to be willing to read the instructions that come with our loan documents. So, okay, everybody mute yourselves unless you're speaking, please. Mute yourselves unless you're speaking. It is interactive. You can ask questions, but just to keep down the background noise, if you would please put yourselves on mute until you are speaking. That will help us tremendously. So anyway, the first sample that we have, it gives you instructions on how to complete the signature affidavit, an AKA statement, AKA being also known as. So in this example, it tells us, or in these instructions, it tells us the borrower is to complete all variations of names on affidavit. The notary must add the borrower's name to the affidavit as it appears on their driver's license and second form of ID that is reviewed at closing. And then they tell us that failure to do so will result in funding delays, and you will be required to assist in the resolution. Now, that could also mean that they may deduct pay from your fee. So they give us the examples. The borrower is entitled as John Smith. His driver's license says John A. Smith. His social security card says John Allen Smith. On the name affidavit, I am also known as John Smith. Then his name is printed there, or if it's not printed there, in these instructions, you're going to print that name on that name affidavit, and then you will have him sign according to the way his name is shown on those IDs and on the documents that are within this packet. And then, of course, it tells you the borrower must sign always as the name is printed. And then you're going to acknowledge that you've done that. So now let's look at a name. Let's look at one of these affidavit. In this example, this is a certified that my legal signature as written and typed below. So Susie M. Sample, her name is Susie Sample. That's the way her documents read, Susie Sample. So under the first one, she has just signed Susie Sample. Now her name is also shown Susan M. Sample. She has signed Susan M. Sample. Susan Marie Sample. She has signed Susan Marie Sample. She's known by all of those names. Now we come down further, and on that credit report file, somehow her name got typed in as Susan Ann Sample. And Susan says, that's not me. So you will not strike through it, or she will not strike through. However, right on the signature line, never known as. Does that make sense? Is that clear?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we're dealing with the legal name as is shown on the loan documents first, and she's signing that way. And then she's signing just as her name appears on all of the other signature lines. Then let's look at the next example. You don't have a long drawn out thing like you had on the other one where it's giving you all of those instructions. However, on this document, in this example, the signature name affidavit, it says this is to certify that my legal signature is as written and typed below. Then they tell us this signature must exactly match signatures on the note and the mortgage or deed of trust. In this example, Susie's name is Susie Sample on her mortgage and deed of trust, mortgage or deed of trust, and her note. This is to certify that this is my signature. The signature must exactly match. So in this instant, Susie Sample, she's signing Susie Sample. Susie M. Sample, she's signing Susie Sample. Okay. Susan Marie Sample, she's signing Susie Sample. Her signature on this affidavit must match the note, the mortgage, or the deed of trust. You're going to have a mortgage or deed of trust, depending on the state that you're in. You will follow suit down here with Susan Ann Sample. That's not her. So she would not sign that. She would indicate never known as. Plain and simple. Now, the signature affidavit, many people have called and said, well, what do I put here? How do I do her name? You're going to follow the instructions. And the signature name affidavit is near and dear to my heart, because early on, I just knew that the way you do it, because I'd read some instructions from somebody else, and I just knew that you do it like this all the time. She is signing the way the name appears on the note, the mortgage or deed of trust. Well, I ended up with one that did not want it that way. They wanted it this way. They wanted it signed exactly as the name appeared on the document. Of course, that means I had to go back and redo that document. So you want to make sure that you are following those instructions. And sometimes it's like, this is much smaller on this document. I blew it up a little bit just so you could see it on the screen. But you have to look at the instructions and you have to follow the instruction, or it could cause you a return trip. And when you start doing return trips, that means it's eating up your money. Okay? That's it, plain and simple. Those are your signature name affidavit examples.
Girl.
Do you have any questions on that?
I do, Liz. This is Phyllis.
Hey, Phyllis.
So what you're saying is that what you have highlighted in the yellow will trump what is actually typed down below. That's the only time that they will sign differently from the way it's typed.
Well, you're going to follow the instructions. And yes, in one case, you're going to sign. In this case, it doesn't matter how it's written, like Susie M. Sample, the instructions here are to sign the name exactly as the name appears on the note, the mortgage or deed of trust. In this particular instance, her name is just Susie Sample on her documents. So that's how she is to sign each one of these. Even though Susan M. is shown, Susan Marie is shown, her signature is Susie Sample according to the mortgage documents. Now, if you go back to the other example, her name is listed Susie Sample on her mortgage documents. However, the instructions for this one is that she is to sign exactly as her name is typed. And that would be, so it's typed Susie Sample. She's going to sign Susie Sample first. Then she's going to sign Susan M. Sample, then Susan Marie Sample. So you have to make sure that you are reading your instructions to know how you are to complete the signature name affidavit.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions on that? No? All right. Well, guess what? That concludes the signature name affidavit. We're just going to roll right on to House Bill 1959. And you see it says alert. So as House Bill 1959, for those of you who don't know, it's where we are asking for an increase for our notary fees and to be allowed to add an identifying number, like the driver's license number, in our journals. So we were in Austin last month, and it went through the House of Representatives. Make sure you put yourself on mute if you're not speaking. But it went through the House of Representatives unopposed. Now it's stalled in the Senate. So we need to start calling again. I put a post out a couple weeks ago giving you the name of the senators for you to start calling. I sent an email already, but since it is stalled, it's not going to the calendar just yet. We need to reach out to our representative. Whoops. Whoops. I don't know why that. But anyway, I was copying and pasting, but here's a list of all of the senators. You just have to figure out which one is yours. And then you start calling them, you start emailing them, because we deserve an increase in our fees. We've not had an increase in 26 years. So basically, we want that $6 to go to $10. So that's going to affect all of us, whether we are doing general notary work, and especially if we're doing general notary work, but it also affects us who are doing loan signing. So make sure you are calling your senator and encouraging them to get on board with this bill, to sponsor this bill in the Senate so that we can get our money. Who wants a raise? Anybody want a raise? I know I do. We do. So let's help each other. Let's help ourselves. Let's ask for their support in getting us that raise. So call your senator, okay? So thank you for joining us for the little nugget tonight. And we do have workshops that are held monthly, and you can visit the website to see the schedule of the classes and the prices for the classes. So is there anything else that you guys would like to discuss notary loan signing related?
Miss Liz, will we get a copy of the sample you went over tonight?
It's going to be posted. Mika, when is it going to be posted?
It'll be posted on YouTube. And then I'll also share it on Facebook. Hopefully it'll be by the morning. Sometimes Zoom's a little funny with their uploading, but I'll try and get it as soon as possible. But you'll get a notification if you're on our Facebook group.
Okay, thank you.
You're
You're
welcome.
welcome. Anything else?
Just want to thank you with some great nuggets.
You're so welcome. I love doing it. All right.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What's the name of the Facebook group? I'm kind of new.
The Facebook group, Mika, you want to put it in the chat for
I'll
us?
put it in the chat. Let me go get it.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
My question is the workshop 2, the mortgage. What is else? Is mortgage, and also what else was it? The cash out?
The workshop 2 covers reverse mortgages, cash outs, and HELOCs.
Oh, okay. So that one is it. The workshop 1 is the regular
loan signing system. So the
The,
form you had
well,
last,
the workshop one is your loan, your regular refi purchase loan documents.
oh, okay, I got you. Okay,
The
I got
reverse
you.
mortgages, is a different animal. And the cash outs, we have different documents that we use in addition to some of the documents that are shown in the workshop one.
Okay. And the form we did was it last week? Is that within workshop 1 or is that workshop 2?
The form that, what do you mean the form that you did last
Well, not
week?
the form, but the presentation we did last week.
The presentation, like the documents that you see on the nuggets, what did we do last week? You know,
We did the when to not to stamp.
when not to stamp, those documents are in the loan package.
Right.
But of course, when you get to those, you're telling me what you're going to do with those documents, but those are not ones that you're going to stamp. So when you get to those documents in your loan signing assignment, appointment, then you're just turning those over. But you need to know what they are. And some of them you might explain to the borrower what they are, but you do not stamp them. The borrower, a couple of those, the borrower may even sign, but you do not stamp. You may sign as a notary, but you do not stamp. If there's no notarial certificate, you're not stamping.
Okay, got it.
I had a question on that. That was interesting. I didn't get that. Is that on YouTube?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, which one's not to stamp?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what is it supposed to say when it says like the text, the state and county? Is that what you're talking about?
No, ma'am. What you're talking about is the venue. So the venue has to be shown on all notarial certificates. If it's missing a venue, you have to add that venue in. But that has not, whether or not the venue is there, that's not what we're talking about. When we're talking about documents, when not to stamp. Unless, of course, it is, oftentimes there is a notarial certificate, but it's not for you. So you wouldn't do anything with it. It could be for the lender.
Right, okay.
They are the ones who would notarize that if it's got the lender's name and not the borrower's name.
Okay.
Good questions. Anything else? If there's nothing else, let me ask you a what if question. If you get to a loan signing and you walk in and you've got Mr. and Mrs. there, and Mr. says to you, I'm not signing yet because we're getting a divorce. What do you do?
Well, you contact your hiring party first, let them know the situation. And once you contact your hiring party, you place that is placed on speaker if the situation is volatile. If it is not volatile, then you let your hiring party know what's going on and they give you the information, and then that is when you leave, and you do not leave any documents for anyone. Things can happen. You don't want to be responsible. You don't even leave your card. You just leave. Thank you for the day. Great, guys, have a great day. And then you just leave, and you need any questions, you need to contact C&C Mortgage Company.
That is good. However, I would do it, I did it today, just a little bit differently. When he told me he wasn't signing because they were getting a divorce, and I want my attorney to look at this before I sign anything. First of all, I just talked to her 2-3 hours prior. I said, I sure wish you had told me that before I got here. But I didn't say another word. I packed up, well, I just picked up my stuff because I hadn't even taken it out of the envelope yet. And I left and I got in the car because my thing is, I want to get out of the situation as quickly as possible. Now, he wasn't angry. He wasn't saying anything in an angry tone or anything, but he said it more than twice. We're getting a divorce. I ain't signing. I got to my car and then I called because the instructions were to call the loan officer. I called the loan officer first. He didn't answer. So then I went to the title company, who was also the hiring company. And she said, well, you need to call the loan officer. I said, I did, but he didn't answer. And I don't want to leave the property without letting you people know, because I need you to pay me for my print fee and my trip fee. And if you leave the property, then they don't have to pay you. So she said to me, okay, just sit there in the driveway and let me see if I can reach him. I said, no, ma'am. First of all, I was not in the driveway. I was on the street. I said, I will not stay at the property. I will drive 1 block away from the property and I will wait for you to call. So the loan officer called shortly after that. So I explained the situation to him. So he called them. In the meantime, I'm on hold. I'm waiting, but I'm a block away. Because here's the thing, y'all. Safety first. Safety first. So you get out of that situation. You get out of that. You don't want to be in the middle, because even though people may appear to be calm, but in that situation, it could turn volatile fast. So I removed myself from the situation and then I placed my call. As it turns out, the loan officer was able to convince them to go ahead and sign. So he asked me if I would just go back. So I did, but now see, it's getting late and I know I got to come get on this call with you guys. So when I walked in, I said to her, because she let me in, I said, so is he going to sign? And she said, I hope so. Okay. I still stood there. I didn't put anything on the table. She went to the back. They were back there for 10 minutes. In the meantime, I'm letting the hiring company know in the chat what's going on. So then finally, when he came out, now this is an hour later, when he came out, they're both standing there, and I explained to them, this is how this is going to go. I said, we're an hour late. I have another appointment. You've had numerous conversations with your loan officer already. You've gone over these documents. Therefore, we do not have an opportunity right now. I'm looking at him when I'm saying this. We don't have an opportunity for you to start reading each and every document. I'm here as a signing agent to collect your signatures and to notarize your documents. That's it. Now, I need you to tell me before we get started if that's going to work for you today. He said, yes, ma'am. Then we started going through the process and he started to ask a question. I gave him that Michelle Obama side eye. He said, never mind. He said, never mind. And we did that closing. It wasn't a big package. It was only like 150, 160 pages. But we got through that in about 35 minutes. He gave me no trouble. And by the end of the signing, he was trying to make a little joke and stuff. But you could tell she was very, very uncomfortable. And they got these 2 little cute kids running around playing hard. Ain't got a clue. Their mommy, they didn't appear to. Ain't got a clue what's going on. And that house looked like a playhouse. When I tell you those kids play hard, house was not dirty. There were just toys everywhere. And there was educational stuff everywhere. But I got my little signatures and I got up out of there. So safety first, guys. But when you go into your signings, you walk in with confidence. You own the room and you tell them how it's going to go. And then you have the expectations set up front. which will make it go a lot easier for you. I'm not saying that there aren't times when you will have difficult people, and they will be difficult throughout the process. However, you as a signing agent, you own the room. You are in charge. Okay? That's just my recommendation. Thank you for allowing me to share that story.
Thank you.
Anybody got anything to say about how you would handle a situation like that?
Thank you. And also, did you get your fee renegotiate your fee, and you made sure you got it in writing?
I did not get my fee renegotiated. It paid $125. So I'm okay with that. I was okay with that. I did not renegotiate the fee.
Okay. Yay. I'm glad you got it in there safely.
Yes, ma'am. Safety first. Safety first. Had it been somebody, as far as renegotiating a fee, had it been $90 and I waited an hour to do it, I may have renegotiated, but I didn't. 125 was good for me. That was acceptable for me. You make your decision about something like that, whether or not you would want to renegotiate. The other thing is you have to make sure of your timing, because I also told them, whatever we do, I have to be out of here by 6 o'clock. I told the loan officer that, and I told the borrowers there, I don't care what's going on. I'm out by 6 because I've got to get to another appointment. So you have to manage your schedule like that as well. So let's just say that you had this appointment was supposed to be at 4. I was okay, they moved it to 4:30. Well, let's say you've got a 6 o'clock appointment and it's running late. If it's running an hour behind, then you cannot accommodate that. So without messing with your next appointment. So you either have to give it back to the signing service, or you tell them, I will come back to you after I'm done with my next appointment. But what you don't want to do is to mess up that appointment that's following the appointment that might run late, in my opinion. What y'all think about that? What would you do? How would you handle that?
I know that the same.
I know somebody got something to say about that.
You were giving me Pam Grier attitude. Thanks.
You said, who was giving you Pam Grier attitude?
You gave him Pam Grier attitude. 19. It was missing was your fro.
Well, but I usually got my fro. But I like to call it, I said when I first went natural, I said, I want me an Angela Davis. Davis.
You know what? You give me Angela Davis. Or give me Khalees.
That's the fro I want. That's the fro I want. Yeah. But anyway, safety first though, guys. Always safety first. Anything else? What do we have coming up for next month, Tamika?
I don't know yet. The schedule's not out yet.
Oh, okay. All right.
I know we have one person coming to talk about general notary work. But other than that, Liz has not given me her schedule for what her trainings will be, but she's gonna put me on the spot.
Let's see. I don't have it over there either. Is there anything that, I do have. Next month is June. We're gonna revisit, rescind, notice of right to cancel, notice of right to rescind. That's one thing we're going to cover. We talked about it some before, but I saw an article in the National Notary Association, which was saying that we are responsible for that. I got a lot to say about that. I sent them an email or a message telling them that I disagreed with their take on that. And I explained why. They didn't respond. But we're going to talk about, that's one of the things we're going to talk about next month. Is there anything in particular that any of you would like for us to have a discussion about here. I do this for you guys, so tell me what your needs are.
So new notaries, when you were a new notary, you know, what are some of the like particulars to pay attention to in terms of when to use a jurat, when to use an acknowledgement, when to use, you know, the various components? Like if you're getting a virtual mailbox, and some people are kind of, well, yeah, I can notarize the virtual mailbox, but then they don't realize that you may need an acknowledgement to go with it if the company asks for it, you know, and those kind of things. So, you know, those things that are really not said, quote unquote.
Now, when you're talking about virtual stuff, are you talking about when you're doing the electronic notarizations?
No, ma'am. So like there's something called a virtual address. So for individuals who are becoming notaries that are starting their LLC, some of them don't want their home address published. And so they'll go get a virtual address. And with the virtual address, it needs to be notarized.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am. And so, and if you don't know that it needs to have an acknowledgement attached to it or with it, just in the event that, you know, the company is asking for some additional documents, then as a notary, you know, how would one know that, you know, unless we you know, start digging around and finding out, you know, some additional information on that. But, you know, oftentimes when we get those calls, it's, yeah, I can do it because that's something easy, and it's, you know, it's something pretty quick, you know, that you can get done for whoever needs it, you know, whoever needs it, you know. But then, because I was reading about it, and I said, oh, wow, I didn't know that that an acknowledgement, you know, some companies ask for acknowledgements, you know, and then as a notary, you know, maybe we should be doing acknowledgements. And I thought, oh, okay, well, I wouldn't have known that, you know, had someone called me and said, hey, you know, could you sign, you know, I know you're a notary, could you do some general notary work and notarize this for me so that I can get my LLC for my business? I wouldn't have known to say, oh, well, let me bring a jurat with me, and, you know, or I mean, I'm sorry, not a jurat, but an acknowledgement form with me, because in my mind, I would have been thinking, oh, well, this is, you know, all I need to do is just notarize. I wouldn't have been thinking acknowledgement. So, you know, different things like that.
Tamika, you want to explain to her why it's not, you want to explain to her?
Well, as a notary, we shouldn't be telling them what forms they need, because that you're speaking as an attorney. So they should already know what form they need. Now, it's okay for you to have them, but that's not our responsibility to tell them which ones they need.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm 110% aware of that part, but I'm just saying, as a notary, for notary knowledge, for us to provide, you know, to even have a jurat, to even, I mean, not a, I don't know why I've been listening to too many jurat videos, but acknowledgement, you know, form for something of that nature.
Have them with you.
Right.
Bring your jurat, bring your acknowledgement. And what you do, you just explain them to them, say, hey, this is the acknowledgement. And, you know, I have verified your identity. If this one is a jurat, this one we have to take an oath. And sometimes when you say you take an oath, they'll automatically switch to the acknowledgement.
Right.
They're all, you know, they'll be like, oh, I don't really need.
So the truth to start coming out is what you're saying. Oh, okay.
You know, they kind of like, oh, I don't really need to take an oath. We could just do that one. Oh, you saying you want an acknowledgement? Then it'll be, oh, that's the one I want. Yeah. So just take them both with you and just let them know the difference in between the two. This one you take an oath, this one you do not. And if 9 times out of 10, they're gonna take the acknowledgement.
But you let them select, you let them choose which
notarial I don't
certificate.
ever choose anything. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So now getting back to this virtual mailbox. So I'm not certain what it is that we need to cover to help others understand Is it
Liz.
about the notarization, or is it about when they can use a virtual mailbox?
It's
Yes,
about, it was just
Chelsea.
about the notarization and and to just make sure that notaries are knowledgeable, like the young lady said just a few minutes ago, to bring a jurat and your acknowledgement form with you. So then that way, you know, once you let them, you know, you present both forms to them and then they pick whichever the form is. But I'm just saying, like, a lot of new notaries would not know that.
Well, and that's why we do training. You always want to have loose leaf certificates with you, regardless if you're doing general notary work or if you're doing general notary work or loan signing. You want to have them with you. However, you do not tell anybody which one they need. They have to tell you. It's against the law. It's against the Texas Secretary of State. That it's against their law for you to do that. So you want to make sure that you're following the law in that respect. For loan signings, you're going to keep extra certificates with you in case you mess something up really bad and you have to redo that notarial certificate. Yes, Chelsea.
I was going to say, we got to let Chelsea talk.
Chelsea was trying to
She
get
was
in there.
trying to get in there. She was trying.
Yeah, the reason I kind of stepped in, and I mentioned it in the comments too. It's a PS 1583, and what it is, so I'm on Notarize. We do 1,500 million of them every single day, and so that's why I mentioned what exactly that form is. You will see them a lot for people who are trying to get LLCs, for people who are trying to get any kind of, you have a lot of foreign entities who are trying to like establish an Amazon store, and they want to make sure that they have an address presence in the States. And so online, we have a verification of fact that's added, but that's also state specific. So I'm in Virginia, but you do still let people choose, but typically you're going to want to always make sure you have your acknowledgements ready, because that's what the post office box places. It doesn't go back to USPS. It goes to like Anytime Mailbox or UPS or iPostal is a big one. Those places are looking for you to acknowledge that the person really is who they say they are, which is what we do anyway. So I just wanted to mention that if anybody has specific questions about PS 1583s, I'd be glad to answer questions about it, only because I've, again, done 1,500 million of them. But
okay, hold on.
Chelsea,
That sounds
Chelsea,
like some.
That sounds like
we're getting ready to tell
notary
Chelsea,
nugget.
maybe you can get an example.
No, better than that. Chelsea, would you be willing to come on and do a Wednesday night nugget for us? Wednesday night training nugget for us?
Absolutely.
Okay. So when can you do that in June?
Yes, ma'am. Whenever you want. Yep.
Tamika will reach out to you and get you on the schedule.
Can you put your email in the chat, Chelsea?
Yep, I will put my email in the chat. Absolutely.
Yeah, because see, what I was going to have to go do is do some research on this virtual mailbox. But look, here at EC Head, we all learn, we share, and we grow together.
Well, I love this group. I love learning from you all, and I appreciate it. I try to come every Wednesday if I'm available. So whenever you have it. So thank you. I will put my email in the chat, and anyone who wants to reach out is free to reach out to me.
Oh, all right.
Okay,
Thank you.
You have some questions in the chat.
Okay.
First one, are apostles an easy niche to get into? Also, what are some types of general notary work niches that make good money?
Okay, as far as the apostles, from what I understand, it can be some good money. However, you have to understand that with that, it's basically like a courier. You have to actually take those things to the Capitol to get those filed. So if you're interested in doing that, then there is a website that you can go to on apostilles is what it's called. And there's also a Facebook group. I don't know the name of it, but if you just type in the search apostilles, then it will bring that group up for you. And it's people who that is a niche for some people. So you have to see if it works for you. Depends on where you're located. If you're close to Austin, it might not be a big deal. But do you want to drive 3 hours to file that thing? So that's something you'll have to look at. Now, yeah, in addition to that, it says, what are some types of general notary work niches that make good money? Tamika, you want to tell them about some of the things that can be done with that stamp to make some money and make good money?
Oh yeah. Well, we have here in Texas, we have some of the tow yards have to have a release notarized. So that's pretty easy and quick. It kind of slowed down a little bit once we got in COVID because nobody was really going out. It's a lot of my calls come because I'm in an area where it's close to clubs and stuff. It's a Deep Ellum area, so people park illegally all the time. So it was really hot when the clubs were open because I'm 24 hours. So I would always get the calls, you know, I need to get my car out the tow yard. So that's really easy. Also, there's five nursing homes within a 5-mile radius of where I live. So I do a lot of power of attorneys. And what I did before COVID, I used to, you know, go to the nursing homes and, you know, introduce myself to the front desk, bring little goodies and stuff so they remember my name. And I have not been personally to market myself in over a year, but they still remember me. So when someone needs a notary for a power of attorney, they're still calling me. So it does work. So those are what I consider to be real easy. And it's fast. It's fast. I like to get in and get out.
Mm-hmm. You just got to know how to charge.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, somebody said, what's your take on debt settlements? I don't do debt settlements because according to the Consumer Finance Bureau, that's borderline fraud. Now, when we know better, we do better. When I first started 6 years ago, I used to do debt settlements. I do not do that because if it's anything that's borderline fraud, I don't want to be a party to that because I don't want the possibility of ending up in jail. So I do not do debt settlement. You have to make the decision for yourself. But again, if you look in the Facebook group under the file section, is something that I put out there probably 5 years ago now, but there should be a write-up from the Consumer Finance Bureau on debt settlement. So take a look at that, or you just Google it and you will find some information. Some of that they're doing, it is fraud because they're catching people when they are at their most vulnerable point, and then they rope them into agreeing to this debt settlement, but then they really don't help them clear their debt. They're just charging them more money. So that's my take on it. How difficult is it to get hired with company notarized?
Chelsea. Let's ask Chelsea. That would be a Chelsea question.
Okay.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
How difficult is it to get hired with notarized?
So notarized is state specific right now. I think they're still only operating in Texas, Nevada, Florida, and Virginia. So that's your first criteria. There is a process, but it's doable. I was pretty much a brand new notary when I started. I had taken a class on how to notarize documents. I took a Virginia specific class on what our laws are here because you are still governed by your state or we're a commonwealth. So that's the very, most important thing, I think. And then you go through a series of testing. Their training is awesome. They really do a great job making sure you're comfortable on the platform, and they don't let you go until you're comfortable on the platform. And I'm pretty thankful. I've done so many notarizations with a certain high star, 5-star review that I'm getting ready to move up to the real estate queue. So I'm pretty excited about that. So
for you.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a process, but it's doable. So, if you need specific tips on it, I can, please, my email's in the chat, but yeah.
To speak with you.
I say do it.
I'm on the notarized platform and I've moved up to the civil level. So
all right.
I need to check with you.
Very good. Yeah, reach out to me.
There are all
Okay.
kinds of things that you can do with this thing, with this, because now on the notarized, are you doing any hybrid loans? Is that, or are you just still doing general notary work on the notarized platform?
Gold and bronze and silver level are general notary work, but we do get auto loan things. The part that was mentioned a minute ago about the tow yards, I've done several of those.
But you're not doing any loan signings.
We will, yes, at the real estate level you do, but you have
Okay.
to work up to that level. They don't start you out there, but yes, so
Okay.
that's what I'm getting ready to train for now. Yeah.
Good.
So, and I'm a loan signing agent on the outside of this, but yeah.
Good. Okay, so can we power of attorney? I think that means can you want to know? Jashara, you said can we power of attorney? What do you mean? Did she leave us? All right. Training on legal forms. Martina, what do you mean training on legal forms?
So like the like wills and divorces, things of that nature.
Okay.
Adoption.
Okay, for that kind of general notary work, because those aspects are considered general notary work type forms that are specific. And there are some folks who do that very well. Laura Brewer, even though she's in California, she has some power of attorney and training on wills and things of that nature that I think it's a good class. Also, Phyllis Traylor, I think does some training on wills and power of attorneys as well. So I would recommend that you reach out to them for training on those specific type of documents. Okay, let's see, what else have we got? Can we discuss power of attorney? Power of attorney, again, in what respect? Because you have power of attorneys for, you have power of attorney, what'd you say?
I was saying medical, it's different kinds.
Yes, we have, the power of attorney. You have power of attorney situation in loan signings, but that's different from a medical power of attorney. So you want to be specific about what it is you want to be trained on as it relates to power of attorneys, because you can tell somebody you want training on a power of attorney, and you get roped into a class or whatever, and they're telling you about power of attorney, but it's not what you need. So you need to be specific about what it is you need. So if you're looking for power of attorney training, I'm gonna get you some. And we will tell me if this is going to satisfy what you need. We want power of attorney training for well, see, you could use power of attorney for wills and things like that too. So let me just say a general power of attorney. Okay, what are the primary power of attorney forms? Something like that. I will get you somebody to do that. Okay, and then can we discuss? I am here. I was asking for power of attorney as a training topic. That's all. Oh, okay, got it. Okay, so yeah, I got you. We'll get that done. And I'm in Michigan. I have a very first notary job. It is a residency form that I need to prepare for that. I think, what will I need to do to prepare for that? Okay, you have your first signing for, this is general notary work, right? A residency form. Tell me what a residency form is. Bianca, tell me what a residency form is. Did she leave me?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes,
There
ma'am.
you are. Yes, yes.
I'm sorry. I'm not quite sure. It's a friend of mine, well, a friend of my family, and she asked me to notarize a form for her when she found out that became a notary. And she said it was a residency form, and I tried to look it up and see what it was, and it didn't give me much information.
Okay, it doesn't have a notarial certificate.
I'm not sure.
Okay, well, if they're
I
asking you
haven't
to,
seen it or anything.
okay, well, if they're asking you to notarize a form, it's a residency form. You really don't care what kind of form it is, as long as it has a notarial certificate attached to it. You just notarize it based on, whether or not it's a jurat or whether or not it's an acknowledgement. And if it's a jurat, you know that you have to give your friend the oath. And then if it's just an acknowledgement, she's just signing it in your presence, making sure that you get the identification. Now, you said this is a friend of yours. Don't care if it's a friend of yours or not. I suggest that you always get the identification. Make your journal entry in your book indicating what you've used for identification. Even if it's your next door neighbor, even if it's your sister, even if it's your mom, you want to make sure that you consistently document your journal with the appropriate information.
Absolutely.
So you really don't care about it's a residency form as long as it has a notarial certificate. If there is no notarial certificate, you cannot notarize that signature.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Don't
You're
forget to
welcome.
charge.
Miss Liz, thank you for saying that. Because if I ever have a relative that needs something notarized, just ask for their identification.
You do. I do.
Okay.
And their
And you
money.
also get your, what you say, Mika?
And their money.
And you get paid
This is
for
your
it.
job. This is your job.
This is your
Okay.
living. They're not going to go
Okay.
to their job and work for free. They should not expect you to do that.
Okay, because I was just wondering about that, if I should even do them or send them, pass them on to somebody else.
Well, I mean, you can do that, but certainly we as notaries, we as a people, sometimes we fall short because it's like, nah, I ain't messing with family. Nah, I ain't messing with friends. That's your sphere of influence. So we need to embrace and we need to work with our friends and our family. However, you just set boundaries to make sure that they understand this is your job. You're not doing any special favors because those are the main ones who will be asking you to notarize a document for somebody who died 10 years ago. It'd be your own family. So you ain't gonna do that. You ain't gonna do that. So you set boundaries so that your family and your friends know that you are going to follow the notarial laws. You're happy to accommodate them. You're happy to let them pay you for your notarial expertise, but you're gonna follow the law. That makes sense?
Thank you so much. Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else? Oh no, I'm charging. Bianca said, oh no, I'm charging. Good for you. Make your money and make sure you document your fee in your journal. You document the fee that you charge them for the notarial act. You do not have to put a trip charge in the journal. You do, however, have to do an itemized receipt where the trip fee or convenience fee or whatever you want to call it is outlined. Is there anything else?
I just have a quick question because I'm sorry. Good afternoon, Miss Liz. This is Gina.
Hey, Gina.
when you said that, it just kind of, the light finally clicked in my head. Like you said, a convenience fee or a trip charge. I understand if I'm traveling somewhere, then more than likely there would be a trip charge. But as the young lady had just said, it was close contact, and it was someone of that she had known. How would she only charge the $6 example? Would she only charge the $6, or would she charge an additional fee? And so it would be okay that we would charge the convenience fee, but we would have to itemize that in our receipt.
You just said a mouthful. Let me see if I understood what you said. Okay. The trip fee, the convenience fee, is if you're going to them.
Okay.
If they're coming to you, you can only charge them the allowable fee for the notarial act.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Did I get that right? Did I answer what you said? Because you said a lot.
I know I always do, but you clarified what I said wrong. So that's
okay.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you.
Yes, ma'am. Anything else?
I've had the privilege of hearing thousands of spectacular.
Kathleen, your light came on, but I don't hear you. I heard background. Okay, you just had your thing on. Okay.
Sorry about it.
That's okay. That's okay. All right, then. There's nothing else in the chat. Did I miss anything from the chat, Tamika?
No, looks like we covered everything.
All right, then. It is 7:57. Everybody got the YouTube channel and the Facebook group link that Tamika put out there for you? All right. And as she mentioned, this will be YouTube, and we do quite a bit on YouTube. I'm past due for doing a YouTube, and I'll get to another YouTube video, but all of the nuggets that we do, they are just nuggets, you guys. If you need training, don't try to get your training through Facebook and through nuggets on YouTube, because that's all they are. They're nuggets. But get yourself into a training class that works for you. Some people like the pre-recorded classes. My classes are not pre-recorded. They are live on Zoom until at least January 2022. I'm not going back to the classroom until then, just because of COVID. So anyway, I appreciate you guys spending the time with me, investing in yourself through learning, because we have to keep learning. This is an ever-changing business, and you have to keep learning to stay abreast of what's going on. So again, I appreciate you being here. And with that, we're going to sign off.
Thank you, Ms. Liz. Have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Guys,
Thanks for
thank
coming
you
out,
guys
and
so
good
much.
night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Thanks for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe.